4 years, it seems that it said that this is the most important presidential election in our lifetime. Well, this year, that statement has the added advantage of being true, because this year we have as one of our principal candidates for president someone who has, in Donald Trump, uh, no understanding of the Constitution, very little respect for it, who has an authoritarian inclination, and who has a lack of curiosity about what's going on in this dangerous world we live in and what to do about it. We need to be certain that we have someone in the White House who will make decisions in the best interests of our country and not in his own best interests. I don't have a high level of confidence that we would have somebody like that in Donald Trump. Every presidential election is different, but we have had times in the past when there have been candidates who have risen above their party and who have put principle first and who have paid a political price for it knowingly. In 1940, it was a very different kind of year. War was breaking out in Europe, but these were also very dangerous times as they are today, because many believed that that war was coming to America, particularly if Britain fell. President Roosevelt was trying hard to get aid to Britain to prop it up to become America's first line of defense. But he was strongly opposed by isolationists in both parties who thought that doing so would be a slippery slope towards war. The entire Republican leadership, including the leading three candidates for president, were unyielding on this subject. But suddenly, in Philadelphia in June, the Republican convention nominated a very charismatic dark horse candidate from Indiana by the name of Wendell Willkie. And Willkie was, among other things, an internationalist like Roosevelt was. And he was very independent. After the convention, Willkie said that he favored giving aid to Britain in whatever amount was needed for Britain to survive. The Republican leadership tried to get him to stop talking about it, but he was unyielding because for Willkie, it was a matter of principle. In August, he came out in favor of the first peacetime draft in American history, a very controversial measure, but one which he thought was essential to American readiness. He made the critical difference in Congress, and it became law. Willkie spoke his mind during the entire campaign, after incurring the wrath of his party leadership. But for Willkie, it was always a matter of principle. FDR won an unprecedented third term that November, and soon thereafter, he announced a massive program of aid to countries around the world who were fighting totalitarianism. The program was called Lend-Lease. It made America the great arsenal of democracy, and it was the program that helped win World War II. Virtually the entire Republican establishment vehemently opposed Lend-Lease, except for Wendell Willkie. "I thought I owed a duty to speak for it," he said. He went to London to see the war for himself, and he came back and testified before some very hostile isolationist senators of both parties. But he more than held his own, and Lend-Lease passed the Congress. FDR never failed to give him credit especially for the passage of Lend-Lease and the Selective Service Act. Quote, "He was a godsend to our country when we needed him the most," Roosevelt said. When Wendell Willkie put principle above party in 1940, he ruined any chances he had for the nomination 4 years hence in 1944. But he knew that. But for him, he had to do it because, as I say, it was a matter of principle. Every election is different, but it's hard to imagine that we have in Donald Trump someone who is willing or able to see beyond his own ambition. Rather, he appears to have little regard for the fundamental principles that have guided our country for almost 250 years. He has a volatile temperament, and he doesn't like to work with others. These are very dangerous times, just like 1940, and the stakes could not be higher. I hope that we all can remember Wendell Willkie as we go forward in this year and try to put principle and country first when we elect our next president. Thank you very much.